What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Penn State 365 podcast. I'm your host, Richie O'Leary of HappyValleyInsider.com, aka PennState.Rivals.com. Today, we got some big news. Well, yesterday, technically. Four-star quarterback Peyton Falzone out of Nazareth Area High School has committed to Penn State. A little bit of a shock, but not too much of a shock for some of you that have been listening to the podcast, listening to some other podcasts that we've been on, like the Locked On Nittany Lions one with Zach Seiko the other day. I mentioned that this could be a possibility down the line, and it ended up happening Saturday after an unofficial visit to campus. His second in 2 weeks, by the way, or 3 weeks. Either way, Peyton Falzone, four-star quarterback, Nazareth area, top 10 kid in Pennsylvania, best in PA, stay in PA. Really, really athletic quarterback. I can't state that enough. This is just a super athlete. He's a swimmer. He's a sprinter. He plays football, obviously, but he runs a 10.94 in the 100-meter dash. That's insane speed. Was clocked as a 4.5 at a camp last year. I believe it was the Rutgers camp last year that clocked him at a 4.5. He's also been clocked as running as high of a speed at 22.3 miles per hour. At 6'5", 210, that's like insanely impressive. Just really exciting potential. That athleticism you don't see from many quarterbacks out there, especially at the high school game. You just watch his tape. He has really good tools that you can work with. Now, he's not going to be a day one starter. He's going to be a guy that probably takes a couple years to develop and get ready. And that's fine because they have Ethan Grunkemeyer waiting in the wings. He's going to be the backup this year probably. He's not the official QB2 yet, but I think he's going to be when it's all said and done. And he'll get some snaps this year, and he'll just kind of step in for Drew in 2026. And then he'll have, 2026, 27, 28. And then in an ideal world, Peyton Falzone redshirts in 26, backups in 27, 28, it'd probably still be Grunkemeyer, but in an ideal world, obviously, Grunkemeyer is good enough and goes to the league. But either way, this is a kid that you don't really need to get on the field right away. He's someone that it's had such an interesting recruitment for the sole fact that Penn State originally wanted him as a tight end because that speed's amazing, athleticism. It all kind of screams like super athlete. And his quarterback play wasn't great. I think he had a completion percentage of 55%, which it kind of shows that there's a lot of work to do. But he's done a lot of work this past offseason, and not just this offseason, but over the past year, working with like a guy like Brad Mandelier. Brad Mandelier is one of the top quarterback trainers in the country. For those of you that don't know, he's worked with Drew, he's worked with Bo, he's worked with Grunkemeyer. Anyone in the Midwest, notable Power 5 quarterbacks, has worked with Brad Mandelier. Now, it is interesting because like Nazareth is nowhere near Eastern Ohio. Like Peyton told us that he would make a 7-hour drive just to get out there and go work with Brad, and he wanted to see what Brad could do. And Brad really took his game to that next level. It was all about fixing his release and fixing a little bit of the mechanics behind Peyton Falzone's quarterback abilities. He's still very raw, but he has all the tools in the world and that athleticism on top of it that makes him such a unique and amazing quarterback prospect. Like I think at the end of the day, I think I might have said this on our last pod. I think Peyton might actually be a better quarterback than Troy Hune, the other quarterback commit. But now you have both of them, and I think they both have talent. They both have things you can work with, and both can develop into nice, pretty solid quarterbacks down the line. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep both of them. I think that's where things get really interesting. But, I mean, you got the in-state kid. Peyton Falzone's the one that you really wanted. In-state, best in PA, stay in PA. So we'll wait and see. But going back to what I was saying before, he was originally recruited as a tight end. Didn't really like the idea of being a tight end in college. Had a bunch of different schools after him as a quarterback. We know Utah and Iowa both locked in official visits with him. He's visited Rutgers a couple times, and they wanted him as a quarterback. And then Penn State saw him start to develop a little bit more, saw him start to work with Brad Mandelier, who's very close with the Nittany Lions coaching staff. And he kind of told him like, hey, like I can kind of fix some of these things. And he was able to fix a lot of his mechanics in just a little amount of time. So eventually Penn State changed course and kind of went more towards like recruiting him as a quarterback versus a tight end. And that's where they really upped their game. Like he wasn't really fond of being a QB2 in a class, but he always wanted to be at Penn State. He loves Penn State. He loves how it's close to home. He loves the fact that his family can go to every single one of his games. It was just the fact that they weren't recruiting him as a quarterback, and he wanted to be a QB in college, which I get. But he improved dramatically over the past year or two, or past year and a half. So talking more about his games, like even Brad Mandelier is quoted as saying, in his 18 years of quarterback training, I've had so many good ones, but I don't think I've ever had one that's as physically talented as Peyton Falzone. And you really see that in his tape. Like, he's able to roll out of the pocket real quickly, avoid the pass rush, and still able to throw on the run, chuck it downfield. Really solid deep ball. He's able to thread the needle on those deep balls. It doesn't hang up there too much, kind of like what I guess a Russell Wilson type, where they kind of just chuck it and it's just all air for like 60% of the time until it hits eventually a receiver, or if it hits anyone. But he might make it a little bit more difficult on himself by bailing out of the pocket so much, and that's the big issue. And he'll fix that at the next level. He's got to get more comfortable just rolling around and moving around the pocket, stepping up in the pocket, and that's something that like Drew's really developed over the past couple of years. Like, Drew was kind of an improv guy a little bit. Now Drew didn't have this athleticism, but now you see Drew step up and actually throw a dart, whereas like Peyton's still kind of doing that. Peyton's using his legs more than he probably should, but he's able to extend the play, and that's the huge thing, and avoid that pass rush and just kind of improv like on the fly. You also see him just tuck and run quite a bit, which I get. He's still got a long way to go in development, and you got to work those bad habits out. But like when he tucks and runs, though, he's that speed, that 23 miles per hour, that 10.5, what was it, 10.5, 100 meter, I think it was. 10.9, I'm sorry, geez, 10.5, 10.9, 100 meter. You just see that speed and that athleticism just take off. And he's able to not only just take off in straight line speed, you could see he actually has a feel for the game and a feel for the defender and seeing what line the safety is going to come over and try to hit him at, and still able to avoid that and take it to the house. But very, very talented, very athletic. I can't state that enough. There's some things he has to work on, but if he can hit his ceiling, like at the next level, like he has the potential to be like a highlight play quarterback every single Saturday night. And has potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I can't understate this one enough. I think he's a Rivals 250 kid when it's all said and done. Right now, he's just a 4-star. He's number 21 at the quarterback position. 10th commit in the class. Like he's just a really, really talented kid. And you could tell, and if you've read the article already about him talking about Penn State on our site and his commitment to Penn State, he wanted to commit in person, so that was big to him. Wanted to tell the staff how he feels. And that's what he did this past Saturday. And they were able to just basically secure a damn good commitment. But he's just very, very excited about this. And he's already on the recruiting trail. He's already hitting up a bunch of different PA guys, whether he didn't say specifics, but from what we know, he's going to reach out to like the Joey O'Briens of the world. He's already reached out to all the committed guys to try, to try to build a relationship with those guys. I do think, actually, technically he is ranked already ahead of Troy Hume, but I think he's definitely going to be the quarterback in the class. I don't know if they're going to keep 2 in this class. We'll wait and see. But I think he's a damn good quarterback. I think he should be probably ahead of Gavin. Gavin Sidwar is pretty good too. Those 2 are really talented Pennsylvania quarterbacks, and I don't think they were doing them any justice by having them ranked 19 and 21 in the country. I think they should more be like maybe 12 and 15 in the country. Both very talented kids. Going back to Peyton Falzone, his stats this past year. Let me see. 2,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 700 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, 7-4 record on the year, 1 conference MVP, offensive MVP, 10.94, 100-meter dash, does the hurdles, the 300-meter hurdles, does the high jump, is a swimmer too. Like, and that he's just an all-around athlete. But like that athleticism is just untapped potential. And that's what you really see. Like you saw what they did with Bo last year, and they wanted an athletic quarterback that can kind of come in and just work a little bit in that QB run game and QB design run plays. Now, you don't want to do that too much with Drew, but they've done it quite a bit with Drew and under Koltonicky. Now, will Koltonicky still be here when Peyton Falzone gets to campus and he's ready to play? That's hard to say. Probably not, if I had to guess, because he's not going to play in 26. You don't think he should? He's probably not going to play in 27. 28? Is Koltonicky going to be here in 3 more years? I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if he doesn't have a head coaching job by then. I mean, he was the finalist for West Virginia this past offseason. But, yeah, we'll wait and see. But they really want to get more involved with the quarterbacks in the QB run game. And maybe the next OC is the same way too. But you saw that with Bo. Like, Bo was just very physical and kind of always a threat to just tuck and run. And that's what I think you'll get with Peyton Falzone. But I think Peyton Falzone might be a better thrower than Bo, or will be a better thrower when it's all said and done. Like, I can't understate this enough. Like, he is just such a super athlete. Next month, he'll be at the Elite 11. I think he's got a good shot of getting that invite. We'll kind of wait and see, because they usually do only like one invite per camp, maybe two, depending on how many camps there are. I got to double check on that, but I could see him getting an invite, but I could also see them giving it to Gavin Sidwar. I don't know. That's going to be interesting, actually, to see how they both throw. We'll be out there on scene watching how that one develops. But yeah, something to monitor. Other than that, I mean, you look at his testing numbers, like they're through the roof, and it makes sense kind of why they saw him as a tight end, and that it goes back to the Tyler Warren days, where Tyler Warren was a quarterback and had similar numbers. Luke Reynolds put up similar numbers. Like, these guys, and on the track times at least, and they're just super athletes. The arm strength is there for Peyton. Unlike those other two, he has a lot different capabilities. Like, he's a really, really good, high potential, high ceiling quarter. I want to say high floor, high ceiling, because even at his worst, I still think he's a damn good prospect at quarterback that you can use in the Bo, like the Bo Prabula packages. At worst, at best, I think he's a highlight reel guy every Saturday night and in State College. So, other than that, that's really all we got. There's a couple other visitors on campus this weekend. Emmanuel Anacho, someone to keep an eye on. Who else was on campus? The wide receiver commits, Jasir Rogers and LeVar Keys, I believe, are both on campus this weekend. LeVar Keys actually just had a really big OT7 game where he had 3 touchdowns to secure 2/10 speed and agility's OT7 team in the playoffs, in the next round of the playoffs at least. And then ironically, that same game was capped off by David Davis, 2026 Penn State DB commit, getting a game-clinching interception. So that's pretty much it, though. There's not a whole lot more to talk about with Peyton Falzone, but this is a damn good quarterback commit. We'll get Dylan on later on this week, talking about Peyton, talking about how he feels about this recruiting class, because that's number 10 in this 2026 class, and that brings them up to number 14 in the country. I know Peyton told me he wants to get them up to number 1 in the country. I think that's going to be a tall task, and it's going to be a little bit tough, but landing a 4-star quarterback, another 4-star in Peyton Falzone, is a good start. So we'll wait and see what happens. But you got to get a couple of these PA guys and these DMV guys and all these like Northeast dudes to commit. So we'll wait and see how it plays out. But for me and everyone else here at HappyValleyInsider.com, that's another. Geez, I'm struggling today. That is another episode of the Penn State 365 podcast. Signing off.